Hi everyone and welcome to Campus Channel. I'm here with ESSEC Business School and we're going to be talking about their Master in Strategy and Management of International Business, the SMIB. Here with us today, we're going to talk about the Singapore campus, and here with us today we have Anne-Flore Mamon-Larofi, the Academic Director. How are you, Anne-Flore?
Very good.
Thank you. And we have also Caroline Hunz, a former student, and she is actually a marketing intern at Sanofi Pasteur. How are you, Caroline?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
Well, thanks to you. They're here to answer your questions, but first we're going to start with the pitch. All right, Anne-Flore, you're going to have 60 seconds to tell us about the SMIB and the Singapore campus. It's your turn, let's go.
Thank you, Guillaume. I'd like to tell you a story, and I would like you to close your eyes and imagine you are landing in Singapore, in an airport where you have waterfalls, where you feel a lot of trees, the heat, the temperature is here, and then you take the tube. You take the train station and you take a train up to a place which is called One North. When you arrive in One North, you see many companies. You see medtech companies, you see media companies, you see digital companies like Lucasfilm magazine, and you see a campus which is called ESSEC APAC campus. You walk, you enter the campus, and here in this area, you see a room where you have well-dressed students who look like bold, students who look like willing to achieve and to accomplish something in their life, students who come from very different origins and very different nationalities, students who are bold and bothering the professors as well. Welcome, you have reached the SMIB program.
All right, thank you very much. It was almost perfect. So I guess, Caroline, you're one of the students. But before landing in Singapore, I was wondering, Anne-Flore, do I need a visa? And if so, will you help me getting one?
Yes, Guillaume, definitely you need a visa. It's even more than a visa, actually. You need a visa and then you need an authorization to reach the place. So it's a double process, which is kind of cumbersome and very administrative. So ESSEC is taking care of all that. So the moment you get admitted and the moment we start doing applications for the visa, which is usually at the beginning of June, July, I mean, this year has been very much different. You can imagine why. But you start being of ESSEC, and ESSEC is taking care of everything.
All right. Is that how it happened for you, Caroline? Can you walk us a bit through the process?
Yes, so ESSEC take care of it, that's totally true. Actually, you get emails explaining you how it's gonna work, and then as soon as you get in Singapore, if you haven't done all of your paper after to get the actual visa, they send you reminders, so that's pretty easy. With the help of ESSEC, that was pretty easy. All
right, thank you very much. What language do I need to speak in order to be eligible to the Singapore campus? Do I need to speak I don't know, any Asian languages or not?
In Singapore is fully in English. So it's a 100% English program, English taught program. If you don't speak Mandarin, we are going to provide you with Mandarin courses. And for people who already speak Mandarin, so for example, Chinese students, we offer them some compulsory French courses. So even though they are, in an Asian campus, we think it's interesting for them to have, I would say, an initiation to the French culture, and to get knowledge about the culture, you need the language. So we provide some French lessons to those people. But you just need English, and you can be a full beginner in Mandarin or in French to join the program.
How were you at English, Caroline, before you started? Were you really good, or the language requirements very high?
Well, I think I was good. I don't want to be pretentious about this subject, but I've been to the US many times for vacation, so I think I was doing great in English. So it was really helpful to be in Singapore and knowing English. What Anne-Flore said is everything is in English there, and you don't need Mandarin. So I was glad with that, because I was scared I had to know a bit of Asian languages, but that was not the case.
And have you learned a bit of Mandarin?
I've tried. I was hoping I would. I was hoping I would know more after the SMIB program, but Mandarin is really hard. It's an interesting language though, because it has history behind every word, and even yeah, tone and stuff like that. But yeah, it's hard. I have no other like word to describe Mandarin. It's really, really hard, and I think you get to do like at least 3 years of Mandarin to like be able to speak Mandarin fluently.
All right, and
But
well,
it's good to know at least few words. Sorry.
no, it's fine, all right.
I'm happy to know like few words, and yeah, that's good.
Okay, thank you. And I was wondering, I mean, the question would be how many students do you admit and what's the international mix? But maybe Caroline, you could tell us how many like classmates you had.
So I think it was a class of 34 students, but in my year it was like 31 French students. So it was not really like a mixed class. I've heard that the other years it was more mixed, and this year too. But in my class it was like most of it French students.
Maybe Anne-Fleur, you can give us more some precisions.
So this year there are 46 students, so it's a bigger group as well. And we have 40% of the students who are non-French. So it doesn't mean they don't speak French, okay? You may have people who come from Morocco, for example, and who can't speak French. But it's 40% of people who are not French natives, I would say.
Okay, and what's the typical requirements, as in like typical students? Do they all have the same backgrounds or different backgrounds?
No, not at all. We point on diversity in this program. So we try to have a variety of backgrounds. This is very important for interaction and for, I mean, getting knowledge from other people in the class as well. So we have people, I mean, if you want statistics, but I can share with you, but basically we have roughly half of the students who have a scientific background, so an engineer background. Then we have 30% of people who have a pharmaceutical background, and the rest has business background or odd backgrounds. We even have people who have done journalism before. So it's possible to come in the SMIB program without a business background before, of course.
Okay.
And then in terms of nationalities, this year this year and the year before Caroline, it's true that the year of Caroline, for some reason, was not really representative of what we had in the program. But this year we have people who come from India, from China, from Taiwan, from Korea, from Australia, and then we have European people as well. So and African people. So it's very, very diverse.
Okay, Caroline, I believe that you're French, and I was wondering what are the advantages of studying this master in Singapore?
Well, the fact of not being in France was my first time after school that I was like going abroad, so that was a good experience, like having school somewhere else. And also, as Anne-Fleur said, even though it was most of it like French people in my class, we had different background, so that was still like a kind of diversity to see like other people point of view on different projects. So I really enjoy it, and we were really good friends with like people from other program too. At ESSEC, so we're still friends with people like non-French, and that was good. That was a good experience.
Okay, Anne-Fleur, I know you don't like to talk about advantages, it's more like opportunities. So what would be the opportunities to have this campus in Singapore?
I think you have to imagine what this is going to bring to your curriculum. It might be like Caroline, she has a very French pharmaceutical background, I would say. Yet she has some international exposure because of her travels, because of her parents, etc. But if in your curriculum you have nothing, which is very international, it could be a really, really good option to go and study in the APAC campus, even though you don't want to work in Asia. But just, to get some international exposure, I think it's something which is very valuable on your CV. Then I would say that the major advantage or the major opportunity behind this program is the fact that you are studying in a very booming and challenging environment where from an economic perspective things are moving. I don't speak only of Singapore, but I speak of APAC. APAC is also Vietnam, is also Thailand, is also Myanmar, is also Australia, and things are moving there, things are changing, and there are tons of opportunities for jobs in those areas, because education is not that high. If you think about the Philippines, for example, they don't have a super good higher education. So if you come from ESSEC and then you apply to a job, let's say for L'Oréal in Philippines, you are the perfect, I would say, the ideal profile. So for people who would like to work in APAC, this is a really, really good option. And especially if you want to do luxury, if you want to do fast-moving consumer goods, or if you want to do pharmaceutical industries, you have wonderful job opportunities right now.
Okay, are you working in APAC right now, Caroline?
I'm not, but I think the situation was quite complicated too because of the COVID situation. I was hoping to like do an internship in Asia and in Singapore, and as Anfor said, there are many pharmaceutical companies there, so I think in a different year it might have been different, but because of the situation, I wanted to be home next to my loved one.
All right.
So that's different.
Yeah, obviously. And how, maybe Anfor, you can answer that question since we mentioned it. How have you adapted the entry requirements regarding the pandemic?
So we adapted the curriculum, we adapted the courses, we adapted the format. Of course, we went a lot online with the complexity that on our Singapore campus, we have many speakers and many professors, and not all of them live in Singapore. So because of the pandemic, sometimes they were stuck in a country and they could not join, the campus, and it's still happening today. I'm teaching in 2 weeks in Singapore. I won't be able to go. So we have to adapt the way we teach, the way we make experience through on the campus. So we kept everything, including, team building activities and so forth, but we switched to online formats, and that was a kind of wonderful way to reinvent ourselves. And then I would say the major challenge this year was for people who were coming from non-Singaporean countries, which were basically out of 46 people, it was 44 people. We are not Singaporean. And each of them was arriving because of, the visa was not given at the same time. So they arrived one by one. So we had to build a whole new class with a whole mindset through Zoom, basically. I think we managed to do it very well because right now the group is almost all there on campus, and they are really, really tight. And I try myself to be as much present as I can on even sometimes not so French working hours, but we have to do what we can. So that would be, I would say, the adaptations we have made. Yes.
Okay, you mentioned teachers that don't live in who don't live in Singapore. Does that mean that we have the same teacher as in ESSEC France, or are there different teachers?
No, the majority would be different ones, except myself, to be transparent. But we do have, for example, a professor of finance, a lecturer from finance. She was based in Vietnam last year. We have some people who are based in Malaysia. We have some who travel from other countries. And we also have, the expat professionals who usually live in Singapore, but because of COVID, they went back to their home country, like Caroline did. So that was, the whole complexity. But our professors in Singapore are very much international. We have the permanent professors of ESSEC. ESSEC has its own faculty in Singapore. Okay, it's not a fake faculty or whatsoever. It's the real faculty. They are making research, they are publishing and so forth on the campus. And we have people who come from Bulgaria, from India, from Taiwan, from France, from China, from Singapore. I mean, it's very, very diverse. So even more, I would say, than on our French campus in the end.
All right.
Yes.
Is there something you want to add, Caroline? Because you seem like to nod.
Well, I know we had quite diverse teacher from diverse countries, so that was pretty interesting because every time we have a different point of view on subject, I guess, depending on the culture of the country. And if I can just add something to the teacher we had, it's pretty good because they're really friendly. So you don't have that kind of barrier you can have between students and teacher. They were really accessible. I don't know if I can say that word, but it was easy to have a contact with them. They were really here for you. So that was, you feel good, even though you're away from your home, it feels good being in a place where you see that the teacher actually wants to be here and teach to you. So that was good classes.
So ESSEC makes you feel at home everywhere. Is that what it would be?
Totally.
Totally. All right.
Totally. That was good.
Okay, we're going to take a little break from the questions. It's time for the cliché. All right, I'm going to start with you, Caroline. what are the preconceptions that you might have had before applying to the SMIB?
So about the SMIB, not too much. I had a friend who did the SMIB, so he kind of like told me his experience and how he felt in his classes and in the campus in general. And I had quite the same experience. So I don't really had cliché about the SMIB in general. So.
And did you have any cliché at all about, I don't know, a business school, about strategy, marketing, about?
It was more about Singapore itself. I don't know if it works.
Obviously it does.
They said that it's pretty like strict, you know, like they have many rules there. Well, that's true. They have many rules there. It's pretty strict, but it's strict in a way where you feel safe, where you can still enjoy everything you do there. So, and more if you're a girl, with everything that is happening in France lately and like girls issue going in the street late, well, you don't feel that in Singapore, and it feels really good. We even though had sport class outside, you can leave your bag on the ground while you're doing your sport. No one is gonna steal it from you. No one is gonna don't have like pickpockets. You don't have to be afraid from people. So it's like a safe place. That's good. It's strict but safe.
Okay, it's definitely home everywhere. So maybe now, and Anne-Fleur, do you have another cliché in mind?
Yes, maybe one of the cliché people may have is that there are less things to do on the ESSEC Singapore campus than on the ESSEC Cergy campus. For example, in terms of student associations or that kind of sports, you know, that kind of things. I think this cliché is at the same time right and wrong. Right, because it's a smaller campus. So because it's a smaller campus, by definition, you have less people and you have less clubs, even less administrative people to talk to. I mean, you know, by definition, it's smaller. But the point is, like, because it's smaller, you also have the exact ratio of things, I mean, of opportunities to students. Meaning that in Cergy, of course, you have 10 things of which are available, but maybe they are all full because there are many, many students. In Singapore, it's always possible to join, it's always feasible. And also, if you are willing to create, for example, an association, a club, this is something which is possible. We have had stories of SMIB students who created, 2 years ago, one of them created the wine club, and last year one created the debate club. And that's something you cannot do in Cergy because there are already more than 200 associations, so it's forbidden to create something new, you know. So this is really it's a cliché which is right, but it's wrong in the sense that you can change the cliché and you can make it being different. So it's up to the students to be very entrepreneurs in their way of doing things. And in Singapore, entrepreneurship is, you know, encouraged, and you can do it. It's a less big machine that we have in France.
All right, so don't drink and debate at the same time, obviously. Eh? But my question for you, Caroline, is: have you been part of a student organization?
No, I did not. But as Anne-Fleur said, one of my teammates did a debate club, so I think it was pretty interesting. Even though I didn't go, I had good feedback about it. I was kind of not disappointed, but sad that we didn't have more sport club in the campus. But as Anne-Fleur said, it's hard because it's a smaller campus. But we had Olympic Games that was organized, and we had to do different sports against different university in Singapore. So that was pretty fun. So I could join a sport, and we had to compete against Singaporean people. So I mean, we didn't have a sport club, but at least we had sport activities. So that was fun.
Did you win? Did you win?
I did.
Good.
Yeah, I had a good teammate. It was a tennis double, and my partner was really good too. So.
All right. You mentioned cliches about like security, Singapore, and like how rules are very strict. Another cliche is that Singapore is said to be a very expensive city. And I was wondering if it is as expensive as it is said, and if ESSEC provide, and maybe for Anne-Fleur, the second part is, does ESSEC provide any financial help? So I'm going to let you start, Caroline. Is it like a true cliche or not? And then maybe Anne-Fleur, you can.
It is, but if you doing good, you can like not spend too much and earn money easily. Meaning that we have a thing that's called food court. So that's a place where you have like many kind of like food things, and you can get food there, and it's not that expensive. So if you don't want to go to the restaurant every night, then you won't have to spend too much money. The restaurant is pretty expensive because also you don't have the taxes in the menu. So every time you go there, you have to add money and money. So yeah, if you want to like have a king life, then you have to spend a lot of money. But on the other side, if you want to travel from Singapore to other little Asian country, that's pretty cheap, so that's good. And if you want to earn money, I was doing babysitting all the time, and there's many babysitting family like family that are looking for a babysitter. So it depends what you want to spend on what, and if you want to like try to get money to be able to spend it.
Okay, and maybe Anne-Fleur, you can give us like details about like financial helps that would be given by ESSEC.
Yes, also on the first point, I think also it depends on what you compare, because if you think of housing, for example, of course housing is more expensive in Singapore than in France, but you live in an apartment that you share usually, and you have a private swimming pool, and you have the private gym, and you know it's not like a tiny room in a very dark apartment in Paris, so you don't compare the same things. And also I should add that the SMIB students, we make a budget survey every year, and the SMIB students are the ones who spend the most, especially because they travel a lot, which is fine, because I encourage traveling. I encourage going out from the campus and not studying all the time. You have to experience if you want. I mean, going to Asia just to remain on our campus is nonsense. You have to get, you know, the region, you have to get the area, you have to get the mindset, and you have to travel. So if you travel, you spend money. Just you know, you don't compare the same things. That's what I mean. And then in terms of helps, alors we don't have specific ESSEC APAC helps, but we do have some scholarship in this program. So you can apply for a scholarship. And it's true that we tend to deliver more scholarships for people who go to study in Singapore than to go and study in France. I mean, our diversity scholarships are going to go more for Singapore, and our excellence scholarship will be spread on the two campuses. And then also Caroline mentioned something very important is, as a student, you are allowed to work in Singapore. You have a maximum number of hours, you have to check that, I don't remember exactly, but it's possible by law to work you know, on a weekly basis, have a real job in Singapore. And this is something which is, I think, a good opportunity also to network and find jobs which are, I mean, last year we had Newfell, I don't know, Caroline, if you remember Newfell, but he was our ambassador in Newfell. He was working at the same time in a consulting company. So he was doing very tiny data analysis, but he still, you know, had some experience. And when you start working in Singapore, okay, life is expensive in Singapore, but salaries are also expensive, are also high. So when you start working as a student in Singapore, you get more money than if you start working in France. You see my point?
All right, so it's not like the more you spend is the more you gain, I guess. And if you gain more
yes.
than you spend, then you're rich. So would be a good definition. You mentioned accommodation. Does ESSEC help students find an accommodation or not?
So we don't have ESSEC housing facilities in Singapore, okay, as compared to on our French campus where we have housing opportunities. Still, during the same summer as when we contact you for visa things, usually ESSEC is providing the students with a list of agencies where it's, where we have trust in, where you can find accommodation. And also people start connecting on the Facebook group, and they have a lot of WhatsApp groups. So they start, you know, discussing among themselves, and usually they find room sharing, very easily. You have to remember, and Caroline can describe, but in Singapore, it's very easy to rent. Like, it's not like in France where you have to have a file that big, you know, and you have to have many people who back up. And in Singapore, you go, you visit, you pay, point. You know, there is no, it's no complexity. I don't know, maybe Caroline, you want to share your experience?
So as she said, that's pretty easy. I had someone I knew that was in Singapore, so I contacted his agency, and I said I'm interested about the flat, and she said okay, no problem. And then I found two roommates on WhatsApp, as Anne said. I found we had a WhatsApp with all the people from our class, so I tried to talk to like the people and to see with who I would get along, and then we just like signed the contract, and then we had the apartment. So that was pretty easy. But if I can still say one thing, you have to be very, very careful with the deposit, because we knew the agency are tricky with that, and we, even though we knew, we did our best, but they still got some of our money. Like,
okay, so they're like,
so
you have to be
like you have to take pictures of everything, even drawers that you didn't open it, take a picture of the wall behind the drawer. And
all right, well, that's a very good advice though. I mean, like,
so,
that's something to know. Thank you for that. Okay.
But one of our teachers,
No, tell me, sorry.
I don't know if he's going to be the same one. He's really nice, and he knows about how much agency can be tricky. So he's there to help us, and we can contact him, and he's like here to contact the agency if we need some of his help. So it feels good too.
Okay, we're talking about accommodation, we're talking about part-time job. What has been your favorite part so far of the SMIB? Sorry, Caroline, what is it?
Well, I love the classes, but I also love the people I met there. So it's new people, it's being able to share a new moment with the people you met. I'm still in contact with the big group of friends I've made. I've seen some of them last week. I was supposed to see some of them next week, but it's not going to be possible because of the situation. But I think just moments you share, people you meet, and yeah, memories you made.
Okay, I have a question for you, Anne-Fleur. Why is there no managing digital transformation and innovation track on the Singapore campus?
It's a historic construction of the track, as with you. This track was created 2 years ago in partnership with a French company. So we created it in our Cergy campus, but not in the Singapore campus. The reasoning is that in Singapore, everything is about innovation and digital transformation anyway. Because of APAC. So in Singapore, it's not. I mean, how can I put that? It's you don't need to learn how to manage transformation because you are already in a transformative process, and the countries have already gone into this transformation. For them, it's not a transformation. You know, it's like the difference in between going digital when you are a big company in France or when you are a startup. You don't need to learn how to go digital when you are a startup because you were born digital. You see my point?
Yes.
So it's a little bit the same thing in APAC. So the rationale is more like, let's put a little bit of digital and transformation and innovation in every single course and also in every single project that you may have on Singapore, because in Singapore you have something which is unique, which is called the Asian Strategy Challenge, where the students are going to do a consulting project during the whole year for a real company, and most subjects are going to be around digital issues, digital problems. And they do that for very big companies. Like this year, they have Decathlon, they have L'Oreal, I mean, very big groups also in the pharmaceutical industry, and it's often around digital matters and digital problems. So we don't need to teach that. It's more you live through it in all the courses, I would say.
All right. And I was wondering as well, which soft skills will I learn by doing this master, and what professional experience will I gain?
Alors, in terms of soft skills, you would gain the same soft skills as in any other business school, I guess. You know, how to behave as a professional. It's about public speaking skills as well. But in the SMIB program, you also gain a lot of intercultural competence or intercultural managerial skills, and also emotional intelligence skills. And I would say that beyond all that, because all that you could learn that in all our programs at ESSEC APAC, I think the uniquity of this program is that you also learn something very hard, which is getting organized. How to be able to manage 400 emails in 10 minutes, let's say in 15 minutes, okay? How to manage all of your courses during the week, plus do what Mrs. Maman has told you, which is go abroad during the weekend, still doing your homework. you know, it's about how to manage your also life and work balance. And all that you learn in SMIB, because the SMIB is a very, very intense program, especially in between September and December. Honestly, it's really, really intense, but it's designed to be intense. It's on purpose to make people, you know, go beyond their natural limits, okay, and push forward that so that they can gain autonomy in terms of how do I get organized, how do I make choices, how do I set the stage for my future professional life, basically.
Okay, Caroline, what soft skills did you learn?
The most is public speaking. We had a lot of group projects during the year, and it's just like all about how to express it and also how to do sorry, I forgot that word. Some compromise. Sorry, okay. How to do some compromise, even though like in public, in different project groups. Sorry, because we had like different background. We all want to say our thing, what we think is the most important, but obviously we don't have the same point of view on the subject. So it's all about being organized, listen to each other, public speaking. That's all the thing I've learned.
Okay, it's time for our second break, and I believe that one picture speaks more than 1,000 words, and that's what we're going to discover with Who Am I? Caroline and Flo, it's time for Who Am I? Who Am I is about 3 characters and one of them which stands for your program, for the SMIB program on the Singapore campus, sorry. So let me introduce you to the 3 people that I have in mind. The first one is going to be Nelson Mandela. I'm sure you've heard of him. Probably don't need to introduce you to him. The second one is Nicolas Hieronymus. He is, well, I guess it's almost official, the next CEO of L'Oréal. And the last one is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She is the youngest woman to ever serve in the United States Congress. Sorry. Maybe, Caroline, you want to start and pick which one is, according to you, the more representative of your program?
Well, I guess it would be the second one, because I would love to be CEO of L'Oréal at one point. And I guess it's because that's why we did this program, is to always go and do the best, having the best position. I know it's not going to be tomorrow that I have this position, but you always want to do better. You always want to go up in grades. So yeah, I guess I'll pick this one.
All right. And Flo, which one would it be?
On my side, I would pick up Nelson Mandela for the simple reason that I quote him very much when I speak to SMIB students.
All right.
Because I think that beyond the ethical mindset and the open-minded way of doing things, I think that Nelson Mandela has paved the way also for projections into what you may do in your life and not only what you can do. And there is a quote, sorry, I will do the same as what I do for the graduation speech usually, but there is a quote that I like from Nelson Mandela, which is, "May your dreams reflect your hopes and not your fears." And I think this is exactly what you should do in strategy, what you should do in the program. When you want to be a SMIB student, you want to be bold, you should not be afraid of anything, and your dreams, what you aim at for the future life, should be a reflection of your hopes, not of your limitations or of what you're afraid of. And this is exactly what you said, you know, when you said, I know you don't like to speak of advantages, but you speak of opportunities. This is exactly that. It's let's see the world with all the opportunities that we face and not only the negative sides or the drawbacks that we may have right now. All and right. that's part of the spirit, yeah.
Okay, so we just had a glimpse of what it would be to be in a classroom with you and how you would teach and motivate your students. Thank you for that as well. The reason why I picked the 3 characters is because of your new signature. The new signatures of ESSEC is enlighten, lead, and change. And I believe that each of those people stands for one of those words. Like I would say that Mandela is enlightened because he's a very human person, and I believe that humanism is very important to ESSEC values. There was Nicolas Hieronymus, who stands for leadership, obviously, like you mentioned, Caroline, and also it's important to mention that he's been through an ESSEC program as well. And the last one, Alexandria, AOC, would be for like the change and how we l'ESSEC keeps changing and evolving and respecting like new needs that are coming. That's why I picked the 3 characters. So all of them were a good answer, I believe. We mentioned many times assignments, and I was wondering what's the typical assignments that were given during the SMIB, and Flo.
I don't think there is a typical assignment in this program. I myself, as an academic director, I really leave the professors choose the way they want to assess students. Some of them are going for an essay, some are going to ask for a group presentation, some are going to make a quiz on the table, but it's a minority, I believe. So some are going to do like myself, for example. I only go through ongoing assessment. Because for me, what is important is what the students are experiencing in class and how they gain knowledge. It's not about the restitution of knowledge. I think in life, where you need to, I mean, you can always go back to your books and to the internet. You know, the important point is to have what you are looking after in mind. Then the details you may check always. So for me, it's more about how do I mobilize my knowledge? How do I know where I can find the information? So there is no typical assessment. I think, Caroline, you would agree, correct? There is no...
Yeah, and in most of the classes we had like a test plus a group project, so you can succeed like in like both of it. And if you're more confident in test, like writing test, then you can do better at this one more than the like group project. And if you're more like confident at public speaking, then you do maybe better at the group project more than at the test. So that's good. We also usually had 2 tests per class.
Okay, could you give us like one specific example, or like a test you had, or like a group project you had, and how like entertaining it was, and how learning by doing it was?
I guess the writing tests are not like, I don't have any experience of the writing tests, obviously, because it's more like you learn, you are in class and then you just answer the question. But it's more about the project, group project with our different like colleagues in the class. As I said before, it's just like learning that you don't always have the good answer. You have to listen to others. You have to do compromise. You have to define the order of things. I don't know. It's just like everyone has a different opinion, and I think it was good to like be able to listen to each other in all of that project. That's what I like the most, knowing that what you think is the most important in one thing, it's not maybe what your other partner think it is.
And Flo, you said that learning and like going through this program would make me more employable to like APAC companies. How do you make that happen?
But simply because you would gain, I mean, when you check out the list of courses, everything is designed to be useful in an APAC environment. So, for example, if you learn about contract negotiation, it is in an APAC legal context. When you do geopolitics, it is the Asian geopolitics. So, for a company, would like someone who is already, the word is acculturated. Okay, you are already acculturated to the world of Asia, or the world of Asian countries. So you are then played on someone who doesn't know anything about Asia. Beyond that, I would say that in SMIB we also have an advisory board, which is composed of academics but also professionals, and I pay attention at having people who are in various countries. So I have, I can share with you, I have the CEO of, no, is Richemont, but so the CEO of Richemont Middle East. So he's based in Dubai. I have someone who is, she was a partner at McKinsey last year, and now she's the CEO of Christophe, which is a French company. She's based in Paris. I have someone based in Singapore. I mean, I try to make people, you know, from everywhere, so that our programs, not only the Singapore one, but the one in France, is, you know, allows the job market again. And I already say that in a lot of presentations and on the website, but I think it's very important. My job as an academic director is not to have people who are only well trained and knowledgeable about things, but it's also to have people who are plug and play on the market. And to make sure that people are plug and play on the market, you have to ask the market what they are expecting. So this is why in the advisory board we have many companies who are getting on board, so that they tell me, they challenge me, and I take people who not necessarily I like very much, but I take people who are going to challenge me and to challenge the curriculum. And also, of course, alumni who are here to also say, okay, Miss Maman, last year we had this course, honestly, it's obsolete, we have to change. Okay, let's change. I mean, the curriculum is changing every year, especially in Singapore. I am the nightmare of accreditation people because they have to renew my accreditation every year. No, because I change every year. I mean, when you change the brochure of last year and when, I mean, people on the campus, I don't know, Caroline, if it happened to you, but you had a brochure and then you arrive on the campus and the list is not exactly the same because Miss Maman has changed things. You know, it's, this is the way it is, but I think this is a proof that we are innovative and a very fit program with the current, and this is super important. I would not do the job I do, you know, if I wasn't able to make it evolve on a yearly basis.
All right, you mentioned alumni. Caroline, how has the SMIB alumni helped you in any way? Has it helped you in any way?
Once again, it's a little bit different because of the situation. I was not looking for Singapore anymore or Asia because of the COVID situation. But I've know we've met some alumni when we went to Ho Chi Minh during our business trip, and they were really nice to us. They give us their numbers, so I know we were able to call them if we needed help. So I think they're really present, especially ESSEC alumni. It's easy to contact them. It's easy to speak to them, so I think they are pretty useful.
All right.
And yeah.
Tell me.
No, it's more of that. We also have that carrier center service that helps you a lot. So if you want to find a job, an internship, or anything, you're gonna be like helped by ESSEC.
All right. You mentioned career days on your website. Is there one in Singapore as well?
Yes, Guillaume, we do have a career day on the Singapore campus, which is a day I organize especially for the SMIB. It's exclusive to the SMIB students, where we have alumni from the program mostly who come and share their, they share what's behind my job title. So basically, they are going to tell us what they do on a daily basis, as part of their job. Then beyond that, I would like to stress out the fact that in the Singapore campus, we do have a mentoring program. Again, I don't know if, Caroline, you took advantage of it or not, but this is a wonderful opportunity exclusive to this campus. When you join the SMIB in Cergy, you don't have this opportunity, where you have a mentor who is a professional, an alumni from ESSEC, who is going to mentor you, during your journey in Singapore. And also myself, I try to make occasions for meeting alumni. This year it was more complex because we stopped everything in February, but usually during several times of the year, we try to encounter alumni, during casual drinks in a place or on the campus. And on the induction, for example, the very day students arrive on the campus, they have an evening with, it's a cocktail party, very, very simple, but the idea is just to make them network with SMIBs who are there in Singapore. You have to know that in Singapore, we have around 100 alumni from this program, which may seem very small, but 100 people, alumni from this program in a country like Singapore is a big number. And this is a family of people, so they want to come back to the campus. They want to see the current SMIBs. So this is something very, very true and very unique. I mean, the alumni network, I would say, is very strong in Singapore for this program at least.
Okay, Caroline, have you attended those career days or not?
Yeah, yes. So everyone was here for the career day, so it was really interesting. And as Alfred said, we had several meetings during the year, some like lunchtime or after after the class, some people would come and talk about what they're doing today in their life, how they succeed to be there. So that was pretty interesting. And I also had a mentor. I think I saw him 3 or 4 times, and that was pretty interesting. He was not in the pharmaceutical background, but it was still really helpful. It helped me through my resume, through my cover letter, and I could have advice from someone else and with a different point of view, once again, because it was not in the pharmaceutical like industry or anything, but it's still like a different, like, it's good to have a different point of view on everything.
Okay, so many good things happen in Singapore, apparently. I have one last question, Anne-Fleur. Can I study 2 years in Singapore, or is it like just a 1-year program and then 1 year in France?
No, so as you may have heard, we have switched to a Master in Accreditation for this program, which is a very good news because it's a very, prestigious accreditation that we now have, which means that depending on your background, for example, if you have a bachelor's degree, you can start studying 2 years in the SMIB program. The first year is here to prepare the second year, and the first year is only offered on our CRG campus. Okay, we have total courses around strategy and business conduct. And then at the end of the first year, you may decide to join the second year. And here, you may decide you will join the second year, but you may decide to join either the second year in France or in Singapore. Only the second year is going to be offered on the Singapore campus. Yet you can do the double degrees from the Singapore campus. Okay, this is a possibility. We haven't mentioned the fact that you can do a double degree with the SMIB program, and you have the same opportunities of double degrees whether you start in France or whether you start in Singapore. But if you do in 2 years, you will have to start in France and then go to Singapore. But I think this is a wonderful opportunity to have a double cultural approach also to the program. It's not a limitation, it's an opportunity again.
All right, yeah, so you're going to combine the best of each country. Thank you for this answer. I believe it's time for extra time, and it's time to wrap up any loose ends. Okay, so we're gonna have 2 minutes left, and you can either say something that hasn't been said, or you can emphasize on something that has already been said. Flo, maybe you can start, and then Caroline, you can conclude. So it's like 1 minute each.
Okay, so maybe something I would like to stress out is that when you join the Master in SMIB in Singapore, it's a smaller program than the one in France. So you really join a program which is a family-sized program. You see what I mean. So even myself, I have a very close relationship with the students who are here because it's easier to know one by one 46 people than 200. So basically, this program is really a life-building program. Yet usually the students, who were studying in Singapore, even if they come back to France like Caroline, they keep in touch with other people who were studying with them, and they are going to remain friends for many, many years. And I would say that this is a major difference. So if you feel like you don't want to be lost in a very big environment, if you're afraid of that, that could also be a good option for you to go in Singapore, because it's going to be challenging from the environment, but reassuring from the school perspective, that you feel at home.
Okay,
so,
yeah, you feel at home everywhere with ESSEC. 20 seconds, the last words, Caroline, and then we're gonna have to go.
I like the word family binding about the SMIB. I like the fact that it was a small class, being in a new country. I think it's a great experience, and I encourage everyone to do it. If you want to go somewhere else and discover new things, new culture, especially Singapore, because there's 3 main culture there. So just go, and you'll feel at home because it's a small class.
All right, thank you. It's like a family. It's a big family. Thank you, Caroline, for answering my questions. Thank you, Thank you, Flo, for answering my questions as well. I hope you had a good time watching the Singapore campus, the SMIB and the Singapore campus, and I hope to see you soon on Campus Channel.